Stop waiting for the perfect moment, because perfect is a lie told by people who are too afraid to start. Most people spend their lives staring at a closed door, hoping for a miracle while the key is already in their hand. If you want a different life, you have to stop shitting all over yourself and turn that shit into a must. Your change doesn't start tomorrow. It doesn't start when you feel ready. It starts the second you decide that now is the only moment that matters. To understand this shift from should to must, you have to recognize that your life is a direct reflection of your standards, not your goals. Most people have a list of shoulds. I should lose weight. I should be more present with my kids. I should start that side hustle. These are wishes. They are preferences. And the problem with the preference is that the moment life gets difficult, the moment you get tired, or the moment the world throws a curveball at you, you drop that preference to settle back into what is comfortable. When you should do something, you're giving yourself an out. You are telling your brain that the change is optional. But the human spirit is designed to meet the demands we place upon it. When you take a should and turn it into a must, you are changing your internal blueprint. You are burning the bridges of retreat. A must is a non-negotiable command to your soul. It is the difference between a person who says they want to stop smoking and the person who says, I am no longer a smoker. One is trying to change a behavior, the other is change their identity. When something becomes a must, you no longer find excuses. You find a way. Your brain actually shifts into a different gear, a state of total resourcefulness, where the obstacles that used to stop you suddenly become the very fuel that drives you forward. Think about it. If your life or the life of someone you love depended on you succeeding at a task, you wouldn't try, you wouldn't give it a shot, you would simply get it done. That is the power of the must. This shift requires a radical honesty about where you are and where you refuse to stay. Most people live in a no man's land of dissatisfaction. They aren't happy, but they aren't miserable enough to change. They are just comfortable enough to stay mediocre. To create a must, you have to pull yourself out of that middle ground. You have to link massive pain to staying the same and massive pleasure to the idea of the new you. You have to decide that the cost of not changing is too high to pay. When you reach that threshold, the how becomes easy because the why is finally strong enough to carry you. It is about raising the bar on what you will tolerate from yourself. You stop looking at the world and saying, I hope this happens, and you start looking in the mirror and saying, this is who I am and this is what I will do. That internal shift is the invisible spark that ignites every external transformation in history. The law of momentum is the hidden engine behind every major breakthrough in human history, yet most people spend their lives waiting for the right feeling before they take their first step. They sit in a state of cognitive paralysis, over and analyzing the map, while the territory passes them by. You have to understand a fundamental truth. Clarity does not come from thinking. Clarity comes from engagement. When you are standing still, your fears look like giants. They loom over you, whispering all the reasons why it won't work, why you aren't ready, or why the timing is off. But the moment you put yourself into motion, the moment you take that first messy, imperfect action, the entire chemistry of your body and mind begins to shift. Motion creates emotion. You don't wait for the confidence to start, you start to build the confidence. Think about a massive freight train sitting on the tracks. If that train is at a dead stop, a single small wooden block placed firmly under the drive wheel can keep it from moving. That tiny bit of resistance is enough to neutralize thousands of tons of potential power. But once that same train gets moving, once it builds momentum at 60, 70, 80 miles per hour, it can smash through a 5-foot thick reinforced concrete wall and keep on going. That is the power of the start. Your only job in the beginning is to overcome the initial friction of zero. You don't need to know how you're going to reach the finish line. You just need to get the wheels turning. You just need to get the wheels turning. This is why small wins are so psychologically explosive. When you complete one small task, your brain releases a hit of dopamine that says, I am a person who gets things done. You begin to stack these wins, and suddenly the impossible task starts to look like a series of manageable steps. Momentum is a multiplier. It takes your effort and adds a compounding force to it, making the second step easier than the first, and the 10th step easier than the 5th. If you want to change your life, you have to stop being a manager of circumstances and start being a creator of movement. You have to demand that your body moves before your mind has a chance to talk you out of it. By starting now, you are signaling to your nervous system that the period of hesitation is over and the era of execution has begun. You are breaking the chains of someday by physically entering the arena of today. This relentless forward movement creates a psychological wake that pulls the rest of your life along with it, turning a spark of intent into a blazing fire of transformation that cannot be extinguished by minor setbacks or temporary doubts. The illusion of someday is the most seductive trap in the human experience because it wears the mask of hope while acting as the ultimate assassin of your potential. We tell ourselves that we are waiting for a more convenient season, a more stable economy, or a moment when we finally feel ready, but ready is a fairy tale told by the fearful to justify their stagnation. When you say someday, what you are actually doing is negotiating with your destiny. You are pushing your power into an undefined future that does not exist, and in doing so, you strip yourself of the only leverage you have, the current moment. This psychological procrastination is a form of self-sabotage that feels productive because you're still planning, but planning without immediate execution is nothing more than a hallucination. You have to realize that the conditions will never be perfect. The stars will never align in a way that removes all risk or discomfort. In fact, if you wait for the perfect time, you are guaranteed to miss the window of opportunity that requires your courage, not your comfort. Someday is where dreams go to die a slow, quiet death of what if. It creates a loop of tomorrowing your life away until you wake up 10 years later, wondering where the time went. This happens because the brain is wired to avoid the perceived pain of change. So it offers you the someday compromise to keep you safe in the cave of the familiar. But safety is an illusion. The only real security comes from your ability to grow, to adapt, and to take command of the now. You must develop a radical intolerance for the delay. You have to look at your goals and realize that if they are truly musts, then any delay is a form of lying to yourself. Every time you honor the someday excuse, you are training your nervous system to accept mediocrity. You are reinforcing the belief that you are a victim of your circumstances rather than the master of your fate. True power is found in the immediate. When you decide that now is the only time that matters, you break the spell of the future. You stop living in a mental projection and start living in a physical reality. This shift requires you to give up the comfort of the excuse. It demands that you face the raw, unpolished truth that you have everything you need to start right where you are with what you have. The people who change the world aren't the ones with the best timing. They are the ones who decided that their mission was too important to wait another second. By killing the someday narrative, you reclaim your agency. You step out of the waiting room of life and into the driver's seat. You stop being a spectator of your own potential and start being the aggressive pursuer of your highest self. The bridge between the person you are and the person you want to become is built with the bricks of today, and every moment you spend waiting is a brick you failed to lay. State over circumstance is the ultimate realization that the quality of your life is not determined by what happens to you, but by the emotional and physical state you bring to what happens. Most people are environmental reactors. If the weather is good, they feel good. If the economy is down, they are down. If someone treats them poorly, their day is ruined. They are living as a set of effects rather than being the cause. But if you want to change, you have to understand that your internal state is a muscle you must train, not a mood you wait for. You don't wait to feel motivated to take action. You physically change your physiology to demand that motivation from your nervous system. If you slump your shoulders, breathe shallowly, and speak in a hesitant tone, you are literally signaling to your brain to feel depressed and stuck. You cannot create a must or build momentum from a depleted state. You have to learn how to snap yourself into a peak state in an instant. This is the science of radical transformation. Your state is the filter through which you see the world. When you are in a state of certainty, of passion, of absolute conviction, you see solutions where others see walls. You see opportunities where others see catastrophes. This isn't about positive thinking or some sunny day philosophy. It's about practical psychological leverage. It is about recognizing that your circumstances are often just a story you tell yourself to justify your current level of comfort. When you change your state, Through your breath, your movement, and your focus, the story changes. The moment you stand tall, breathe deep, and focus on your why with total intensity, the obstacles that look like mountains 5 minutes ago start to look like pebbles. You have to become the master of your internal climate. If you are waiting for the world to give you a reason to feel powerful, you will be waiting forever. You have to generate that power from within. This means taking control of your mental broadcast. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on what you can't control or what you can't? Or are you focusing on what's missing or what's available? Your focusing determines your feeling, and your feeling determines your actions. By deciding that your state is your responsibility, you take the power back from the world. You stop being a victim of the events of your life, and you start being the commander of your experience of life. This is the foundation of all lasting change, because it ensures that no matter how hard the wind blows or how difficult the road gets, you have an unshakable core of energy, and resolve that is independent of your surroundings. You are no longer a leaf in the wind, you are the wind. You realize that you don't need the world to change for you. To be happy, successful, or driven, you change yourself, and the world has no choice but to follow your lead.